On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about The Whole of the Law by Anaal Nathrakh. That is perhaps the most evil-sounding metal band name we've had so far.
Very scary name.
Very medieval. For interesting reasons. We'll find out. All right, time to start the show. Cue the music. Boom. Pregnant pause before the show starts. All right, hi everyone. My name is Kale, and you're listening to the Bronze Metalist podcast, where we talk about metal and stuff. I'm still your dad. I'll always be your dad.
I'm always your dad, son.
I'll always be your dad. Who are you on the other end of the microphone?
I'm your son. I'm Jaryn. I'm the beginner metalist.
The beginner. You're the novice.
The novice.
I guess.
I play this podcast on Recruit.
Okay, it's like a video game thing.
Yeah.
Now I understand. I got it. It took me a second. Yeah, this week we listened to The Whole of the Law by Anaal Nathrakh, which is an English fusion band. I guess it's best to call them an extreme metal band. They combine a whole bunch of different stuff, which we'll talk about later. But first, I have a brand new segment for you, Jaryn.
I'm so excited.
It's called Bottom Shelf with Kale. I don't know how often or if ever again we're going to do this, but I came up with the idea while I was at the liquor store today. What if every week or every other week I tried a new bottom shelf whiskey on the show? So we're going to try this out. What I have here is Ancient Age Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. I haven't had it before. It was on the bottom shelf. It cost me $20. It's in a plastic bottle, so you know it's going to be good.
That's what they put quality whiskey in.
Yeah. Oh, the good whiskey is all in plastic bottles. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
But we're gonna try it. I'm gonna pour myself a nice glass here. See what kind of fragrance we have.
Rubbing alcohol is my guess.
It might. I don't know, because I like Black Velvet, and that's like $17. I mean, it doesn't smell bad.
Let me smell.
It's not like Jim Beam. Like, Jim Beam smells bad to me. It's not offensive.
It doesn't smell like high quality stuff, and he's tasted it, everybody. Thoughts?
That's not bad. I don't drink a lot of bourbon, so it's like I don't have anything like good to compare it to.
Okay.
I don't even really know what a good bourbon is. And Jack Daniels isn't bad, but you're paying for the name with Jack Daniels, and I very rarely drink Jack Daniels.
Is that the one with Mila Kunis?
I think Mila Kunis is Jim Beam.
Oh.
Which is unfortunate because she's representing a terrible whiskey. Or at the very least, I think, of far overrated whiskey.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever seen people singing Jim Beam's praises, but if they do, I don't think it deserves it. Yeah. I don't like Jim Beam at all. But yeah, Ancient Age, not bad. What a podcast this is. You get 2 reviews in one.
You get all sorts of reviews.
You get 2 reviews in one. So, Jaryn, you are especially sweaty tonight. What were you up to? You working out?
Yep, I went for another run. It's not so bad anymore because it was 4 miles every other day, and now it's just 3 miles every day but Friday, which seems like it'd be worse, but the difference between like 3 and 4 miles for some reason is so much more. Yeah. Like, I don't mind running every day because I can get it done in 25 minutes, and it's fine. But I get really sweaty I have yet to get far enough into shape where I'm not immensely sweaty every single time I work out.
I mean, I probably would have had a heart attack after 1 mile. So, I went up and a couple weeks ago while I was preparing to talk about Slice the Cake. I went to the track up at the Dome and just walked around, and I jogged 1 lap and was like, oh, I gotta stop. I can't do this. So yeah, I'm in pretty pitiful shape.
It's tough because in high school I would be in basketball and wrestling at the same time and be in like the peak physical condition, and then Christmas break or like a long weekend would happen and I wouldn't run for 5 days, and then I'd get back and it was like I was at the bottom of the rung of the ladder.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been athletic at all, and like I think that's part of why I am so averse to exercise, is just because I never had to do it in high school. I was, speech and drama all the way. The only sport that I ever played was golf, and I despised that, so I quit after 3 years.
Yeah.
So I've just never gotten used to having consistent exercise, and now I'm just like, now I'm sedentary. I don't know how I don't weigh like 300 pounds.
It's crazy. I get jealous because I know, like, if I eat a full pizza, you can bet that I'm going to gain some weight. But I know I have friends that, to this day can still eat a full pizza and they're just like skinny as can be, and it doesn't matter what they eat, they're just like stick thin.
Well, like Leaf, like my roommate Leaf, he can eat just about anything, as it would seem, and hardly gain any weight. He was very, very skinny when we moved in together, and like I think he's put on a little bit of weight. He's not nearly as skinny as he used to be, but yeah, he can, for the most part, he can eat just about anything. I don't know if you know Alex, my friend Alex is, I think he's 6'6", something like that. He's really tall. He used to be super skinny. I remember my freshman year of college, I ran into him on his way back from the grocery store. He was unloading his car, and there was enough food in there for what seemed like probably like 4 people could feed 4 people for like a week, and it was all for him. And it was all just donuts and sweets and just bread and carbs and just tons and tons and tons of just the unhealthiest food, because he was trying to put on weight because he was so skinny and so tall.
That's crazy.
Like I wish I had both of those problems.
Yeah.
But alas, I'm above average height, but I'm not I wouldn't call myself a tall person.
Yeah. Well,
you're tall.
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
Except I went the last time I had a doctor's checkup. I stood on the thing, they weigh you, and I weigh whatever my normal weight. And she took the height thing and she pulled it up and she stopped the top of it about at my nose, and then there's the handle that's supposed to go on top of your head. That was like at an angle. She's like, okay, 5'10". And I was like, no, that can't be correct. And she's like, well, hun, it says right there, 5'10". And I said, I'm 6'2". Like, that's everywhere that I'm registered, like any form of identification.
Like, literally every other measurement I've had in the last how many years since I've been this height has told me I'm 6'2".
Yeah, I was like, consistently I'm 6'2", and now you're telling me I'm 5'10". Like, I could see if you said 6'1" or whatever, but 5'10",
And that's happened to me when I've been at the doctor too. Not necessarily that they've had the weird slant and whatnot, but like normally I think I stand around like 5'10" and a half, 5'11". Measured any other place, it'll tell me somewhere in that spectrum, 5'10" and a half, 5'11". I went to the doctor, I think, because I was working at a plant over the summer, so I went into their medical clinic to get my physical done and get checked out and everything. And I think they told me I was like 5'9". I was like, no, that's not right, because I have a friend who's 6 foot even, and I'm almost as tall as he is.
Yeah,
like, we're almost exactly the same height, so it's like, that's not right.
Yeah, I've also run into a few people in high school because I was 6'2" when I was like a junior, and I've grown maybe a little bit since I was a junior, but I mean, I've been 6 foot since high school. There's a kid that swore on his grave that he was 6'1", and the dude was like 6'4" probably, but he just said, he's like, I'm 6'1". I've measured it myself.
He didn't want to brag.
Yeah, I was like, no, you're not, because you're taller than I am, and I'm 6'2".
So, yeah, and I haven't grown. I haven't like gotten any taller, I think, since I've been in college. But my parents at least tell me, I haven't really noticed it all that much, but my parents say that my shoulders have gotten a lot broader. Even before, because I've gained a little bit of weight in the last year. But like before that, like medium t-shirts never fit me well. They were fine in the torso, but in the shoulders, they were always really tight. And then once I started wearing larges, I was like, oh, hey, this is really nice. This is what t-shirts are supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
So, and it was always, tight across the chest, because that's where it would be tight. And it's like, oh, large. That's where it happens. I've got a good set of shoulders on me, and that's about it. Like, I need to start working out and sort of take advantage of my frame.
Yeah.
But alas and alack. We should probably start talking about the album that we listened to. Again, it was The Whole of the Law by Anaal Nathrakh. Or you could say Anaal Nathrakh
Yeah,
if you want to be funny.
At first I glanced and I didn't see like the second A, and I was like, are we listening to something by Anal?
There is a very specific band that has the word anal in their band name. I don't want to say the other word on this podcast.
Oh, goodness.
They're a grindcore band. Anyone who knows anything about grindcore knows the band I'm talking about. But no, it's Anaal Nathrakh. The name comes from, I can't remember which movie it is, but it's some like Arthurian movie, and it's some spell that Merlin casts in it. Originally, so I did a little bit of research on the history of this band. Originally, they were a straight-up black metal band. They're from the UK, and then over time they have developed influences from a whole bunch of different genres, from grindcore to industrial to death metal. They have created this very interesting amalgamation of music, which is why on Wikipedia they're now just listed as extreme metal, because it's like, what do we even
call these
do?
guys?
Yeah, what do we even do with this music? Yeah, about this album, man, this thing was weird. This is a weird album. I've listened to it a little bit before. I didn't go into this completely blind, but this is a weird record.
Yeah.
I generally speaking, I liked it, but we'll get into some issues I had with it later. I want to know what you think.
I also, it is weird, and I don't know that played to its strength.
Yeah.
I listened to it earlier this week, and it might have been the mood I've been in, because this is like kind of midterm time and everything. I've been just
you're waiting for everything to end so you can go to Hawaii.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I guess it might have just been the mood I'm in, but the whole time it was just hard for me to listen to, because it wasn't just like a straight shoot necessarily, like just sit and listen to this album. It was like, I don't know, I just wasn't having it when I was listening to it. And
I think this album really challenges, like it definitely challenges me, and a lot of different things that I like about music. It kind of challenges that and says, well, you like this thing, well, we put it in this, what do you think now? So my main issue with this album that kept me from like really liking it, because I really liked the instrumentals for the most part, the vocals really bother me, because on the vast majority of the vocals on this album, there is a needless amount of distortion.
Yeah.
In broadcasting, we call it overmodulation or just clipping. And that's, when you talk about a distortion pedal for a guitar, that's literally just what it is. It just, turns the signal up so it clips it. And that's where you get that fuzz from. And people will do that on vocals every now and then. We talked about this on the very first episode with Converge. Converge's vocals on their first couple of albums, Jacob Bannon's vocals tend to be a little distorted. I don't know if that was a product of them applying distortion to it post, or if that was just naturally from, having the gain set a little too high, or him having the microphone a little too close up to his mouth. But this, it felt like the distortion was a very conscious choice, because there's also a bunch of vocals on it that do not have it, and they sound really good. But especially on like the first song on this album, it's just so in your face and heavy-handed with the distortion. For me, as a person who doesn't listen to a lot of black metal, where that sort of thing is pretty commonplace, it really kind of put me off.
Yeah, and that's like when it started, I thought maybe it was like last week's album where it started with or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. It started different, and then it kind of went into the sound of the album. I thought that was maybe what this first song was going to be, but then it didn't. And like you said, I don't know, it's weird.
And there's a lot of there's elements of a lot of things that I really love. Like I really, really like grindcore, and I really, really like fast death metal. And there's a lot of that on this record that I like. And I tend to enjoy really wacky and kind of screwball type vocal choices, and like the melodic vocals on this album are just kind of silly and really operatic. They're not perfectly delivered. They're very strange. I appreciate that, but then it's packaged with a lot of this stuff that I have trouble with. I noticed it sounds a little bit better through like headphones that have good bass.
Okay.
If you're listening, like on my speakers over there, that has generally good bass, but I can't stand to listen to it through there, but through just my earbuds that I have, it sounds good. I listen to it on my on-ears that I'm wearing right now, and it sounds a lot better because the bass is a little bit higher, and the distortion, if the, I don't, treble qualities or whatever you want to call it, the distortion gets drowned out a little bit more to where it sounds more like fuzz that you hear on a guitar.
Yeah, it's probably intended to be more of that.
Yeah, it's less punchy. The distortion becomes less annoying, and that saved the album a little bit for me. And it's so tough because there's a lot of stuff on this album that I really, really want to love, and I can jam to it.
Yeah.
But there's always something just in the back of my mind that's nagging me, and I'm gonna listen through a lot of their other discography and see if there's more of that, or if their earlier work is a bit more, I don't want to say well produced, because I think a lot of these were very conscious choices.
Yeah.
And not necessarily a product of poor production. I think these were very conscious choices that were made by the band and their producer and their engineer. And I'm wondering if they made those same choices on their earlier works. So, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And I don't want to say that it was a bad album just because I was in a bad mood. But I don't know. This wasn't.
You weren't digging it.
Yeah, and that might have been just a product of me being stressed and whatever else, and not really wanting to sit and listen to something.
Yeah, and it honestly, for me, it might be a case of that. This album just isn't for me.
Yeah.
The band started out as a straight up black metal band. Black metal, for the most part, with a few exceptions, isn't really for me. So, who are they making his album for? Most metal bands don't really make albums for anyone. They make them for themselves. But there is, I think, always an element, even if a band says, oh, we don't make this album for anyone, we make it for ourselves.
Yeah.
There is still absolutely an element of, your audience and what they want. So the question kind of remains, what do the majority of Anaal Nathrakh fans listen to? Are Anaal Nathrakh fans mostly death metal fans, or are they mostly black metal fans, or are they mostly grindcore fans? I don't know. I like grindcore and I like death metal, but this album challenges me.
Yeah, and this may not tie directly to it, but you were saying that you make it for yourself, but also you have to know kind of where your fans are gonna want. I read in an article somewhere, I don't remember, and this may not be all the way true, but do you know who Matis Yahu is?
No.
He's a reggae Jewish singer, and a lot of his music has to do with God and anything. But he makes kind of off the beaten trail music. It's still really good, but it's not super popular. And somewhere in this article, it had said that when he makes an album, if he's gonna make 10 songs, he makes 9 songs the way he wants to make them, and then he makes the 10th song be still in his vein of music, but kind of like a generic radio song
to get people interested in him.
And then it ends up going on he I don't know if you remember the song One Day from, we were in high school when it was big. But
I don't remember anything from high school.
But it was they used it on the Olympics and everything, and he blew up. And then he made Spark Seeker was an album, and he had Live Like a Warrior, and then that was used for the World Series for MLB. And anyway, he knowingly was I want to make my own music, but I also have to pay for it and be able to get people interested.
So let's make one hit, and then everything else can
exactly
be one hit on this album.
And then everything can be what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And that one song would make the money back for the whole album. And I just thought that was such a funny way of doing it.
And that's pretty smart. I think that's a pretty smart decision. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I don't know if that's a snowplow or a plane, but...
or a snow plane.
Oh my God, what's a snow plane?
It's this plane with a big plow on the front. In case any birds fly, it just goes...
It's like a cattle guard on a train?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's an interesting visual that you've painted for me.
Fan art. That's what I want our first piece of fan arts to be.
That's loud. I can barely see it picking up.
Okay.
We live 12 miles south of an Air Force base, and there's also an airport a mile and a half from here, so jets. It just keeps going.
It's just
It
in
just doesn't
circles
stop.
now.
It just doesn't stop. There have been helicopters flying over every once in a while too.
Yeah, I don't know
and
why.
they're like, I don't know how low they're flying because I don't see them, but they're loud as hell. And I know those helicopters are probably from the Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Either that or because I couldn't tell what direction they were going, but either that or it was, some terrible accident that needed medevac to the hospital. But
Yeah, no, it's like every morning for the past couple of weeks. I have class at 9:30 on Thursdays. Every single morning without fail, when I leave my apartment to go to class, that helicopter is coming across.
maybe they're taking like missileers to one of the missile bases.
That's true.
Because maybe the roads are snowed out.
Bad. Yeah, they were working on the missiles when I went home 2 weekends ago.
You would think that with the amount of like Humvees and heavy equipment that they have, they could clear out their own roads. So that's probably not what it is.
Who knows?
But yeah, what we were talking about, The Whole of the Law by Anaal Nathrakh. I keep on. I for a while I thought it was Nathrakh, and no, it's Nathrakh. Nathrakh, like Dothraki.
Dothraki,
from,
yeah.
from Game of Thrones.
That's what I was thinking.
But yeah, I keep on saying this album challenged me, but that's like the most succinct way that I can put it, because as I've said, there's a lot here that I really want to like, and a lot that I do like, but it's just not for me, I think.
And I don't know how well this is gonna fit, because I'm not quite sure. It felt like something where it was like trying to be a jack of all trades,
A little bit.
but a master of none type of thing. Like it seemed like there was too much
fusing going on.
Yeah, without enough focus.
Yeah. It is not, it does, I would agree. I think this album does lack a little bit of focus, but, I was entertained.
Yeah.
It had my attention. It wasn't like the Ovid's Withering album where kind of halfway through I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
Can
I'm
this
going to
be
go do
over
something
with?
else
Like,
now.
like this holds my attention mostly because I want to understand it and I want to like it. I don't get bored listening to this.
Yeah.
I thought the inclusion of like electronic elements was really, really interesting, especially for this kind of music. I thought that the beat, I think that's on the very first song, which is, come on Spotify, scroll up. Wonders of Technology. The first main song, because they have an intro, and then I believe it's in Depravity Favors the Bold. It starts out with like this really pounding electronic bass hit, and I thought that was a really cool way to introduce sort of this industrial aspect to their music that was kind of unexpected for me the very first time that I listened to this, which was like last summer at some point. I don't know.
Maybe it's like beer, where when you first start drinking it, you're like, I don't like this.
See, I always liked beer though.
Did you?
Yeah, I always liked beer and I always liked whiskey. Although it kind of depends on the whiskey. Update. Towards the end of the show, the second update from Bottom Shelf with Kale, I've decided I don't really like this whiskey. I've been sipping it and it's just not. It's not great.
It's not doing it for you.
Like I said, I don't like bourbon all that much, so it's just not doing it for me. It's been a while since I've drank any Irish whiskey too, so maybe I should have paid a little bit extra and gotten something like that, but I'm just not a bourbon guy.
Yeah. I had for the only whiskey I had on my 21st, I bought a thing of Crown Royal.
Yeah, and that's Canadian, which I like Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, and I bought that just because that's what my dad drinks. But I tried some, and it was fine. It's whiskey. And then,
how dare you say it's just whiskey?
Well, I mean, it's
What's
good.
wrong with you?
But then I had some Jameson at a bar on my birthday because they gave me a free shot, and that was a shot. So I guess I really didn't taste it. But then when I went home, my dad took me to the liquor store, and he's like, "What do you want?" And I said, "Should we try beer or whiskey?" And he said, "Sure. What kind of whiskey?" And I said, "I don't know. Do you want Crown?" And he said, "You know what? Let's go for the good stuff." So he bought a thing of Pendleton.
Oh, Pendleton. I've had Pendleton before.
Do you like it?
I don't really recall all that much about it, to be honest. It was at my brother-in-law's bachelor party. It was early on in the day, but I don't remember much about it.
It's really good.
That's one of the more expensive. Pendleton and Crown are kind of the two expensive mainstream Canadian whiskeys.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always, passed by the whiskey aisle and be like, maybe I should get a bottle of Pendleton just this once, but
Yeah,
I haven't.
I mean, it's really expensive. It's not something, and I don't keep a bottle of whiskey or really any alcohol on hand, but I'll like, try whiskey or beer if you give it to me. But that's something where like, if you want to pull the trigger on an expensive and like have that not be, you don't mix it with anything, you just sit and sip that. That's some good stuff.
And like it might be, I don't know if, there's what people call sipping whiskey. I don't know what whiskeys are just supposed to be sipping whiskeys and what whiskeys are supposed to be, shots or mixed or anything like that. But yeah, I've been looking at like bottom shelf scotch, but I haven't, I've only had 2 different kinds of that. I don't even remember what the most recent one, the empty bottle is sitting back towards my bathroom somewhere, but I finished that the other night. Drank too much. I haven't had class, like other than the show today and a recital yesterday, I haven't had class all week.
Oh man.
Because I normally don't have class on Monday. We had a snow day on Tuesday, or at least Tuesday morning. My professor this morning was out of town, and tomorrow I don't have class. So like I haven't had class all week, and I've been bored out of my mind. No incentive to really wake up in the morning, so it's like, let's watch a movie and get drunk.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. I might edit this out, but I swear I'm not an alcoholic.
Just an alcohol enthusiast.
There we go. That's what I'll tell people. If they ask me, do you like to drink? I'll say, I'm an alcohol enthusiast.
Say you get paid for drinking, to taste whiskeys.
That would be a lie.
I'll give you a penny.
You'll give me a penny. All right.
Whatever revenue this podcast makes, because now we have a segment, Bottom Shelf with Kale.
I mean, it wasn't exactly a ringing endorsement, so I don't think Ancient Age is going to be paying us anything for this.
True.
Maybe, full disclosure, we were not paid by Ancient Age. I, in fact, paid them. So, yeah, I think we ran out of steam on that album pretty quickly.
Yeah, we did.
The Whole of the Law by Anaal Nathrakh. It is, if you like black metal, I say you should definitely give it a shot. If you're into more lo-fi grindcore and death metal, I think give it a shot as well. It's, I mostly listen to like progressive death metal these days, and my grindcore I typically like to be a bit more high fidelity. So if that's not you, if you're a lo-fi kind of guy, Bill Nye the lo-fi guy, if that's you, then I would check this album out. Otherwise, it probably isn't for you, but give it a shot anyway. But not a shot of Ancient Age whiskey, because it's not great. But I'm going to keep on drinking it, because I bought it, damn it.
So now you have to drink it. Hey,
now I have to drink it.
The more you drink of it, the better it tastes.
Maybe. This is like Jim Beam all over again. I might just have to pour this root beer into it. This might be a mixing whiskey.
That's
true.
true.
To be honest. All right. Well, social media time?
Yes, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Bronze Metalist.
Yeah. I don't know if I have that consistently like listed of The Bronze Metalist or just Bronze Metalist or Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm not sure if I got all that consistently done. I might have crapped the bet on that one, but if you just search Bronze Medalist, we'll come up.
Yeah, it comes up, I think, on almost anything.
Yeah, don't you worry. Did you say Instagram?
Yep. Oh,
okay.
Maybe I didn't. If not,
know.
Instagram.
This is the part where we tell you where you can listen to us, even though you're already listening to us. If you're interested in checking us out someplace else, we're on iTunes, Libsyn, and YouTube. I've considered, I don't know how Stitcher works. I've heard that's a thing that people use. It's called Stitcher. I might check that out. I don't know if you have to pay for that. If only SoundCloud wasn't
Going in into the...
I think is SoundCloud still dying?
I don't know.
Because I heard SoundCloud was dying, and then like they're still around. So,
and I've heard YouTube is like going down the drain.
I mean, YouTube's going down the drain entirely because of its own practices. They're still making a ton of money. It's just the people that work on YouTube and rely on YouTube to make a living don't like it anymore because their software has kind of started to run rampant.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for a completely different podcast, and we should end this podcast that we do. So my name is Kale.
My name is Jaryn.
We have nothing left to say. Made you wait for it.
You did.